service, sacrifice, study. We are a heterodox community as opposed to an orthodox one. We are a community of heteropraxis as opposed to orthopraxis. There's not one right way, but we must find ways. We must notice first, how are we shaped? And then discover, where do we want to go? How do we want to create a space for wisdom to live within us? Now, it's not always pleasant, this disciplining process. It's not always fun. It's not always painless. It entails looking at ourselves in the mirror and examining old hurts, unfinished business. But above all, it entails becoming who we are, fully alive. Not looking for another missing piece to roll by and pick us up and take us there. The writer Alice Walker spoke in her text, "We are the ones we've been waiting for." She said, one of her disciplines is yoga, and she says, "I learned my first yoga postures while living in a tense and sadist-filled Mississippi from a book for children called Be a Fish, a Bird, a Tree. It was years before I received instruction from an actual person. From the final savasana on the yoga mat, it is easy to see how like orchids we have all been and still are. Beautiful, rare, fragile, strong, exotic, plain, gorgeous. And how true it is to say, as one can easily observe in many of our neighborhoods, where killing ourselves and each other has become almost a sport, we have almost no idea how to take care of us like orchids. Until sadist rule in the world ends, or at least until it is revealed, acknowledged, and controlled within human beings, we will never know peace. This, she says, is why yoga and meditation are essential. In order to free ourselves, we must listen to the many harrowing tales that our people, for their own health and sanity, must share with us. Knowing what happened to our ancestors' lives is the only way we can begin deconstruction of the dysfunction in our own. Study. To do this will require the warriorship we generally associate with heroic leaders. Mandela, Che, Tubman, Truth, Malcolm X. Service. But it is within reach of us all. Warriorship, in this case, means holding protective chi or life force that enables oneself and a community to heal. Which brings me back, she says, to a question I posed at the beginning of my talk: what is blackness? What makes us black? To be black means to have body and soul together. That is why customarily we used to define a together person as having soul. It has been shocking in past decades to see so many soulless black people, people who in our grandparents' time would have been considered zombies. And it is in this area in which yoga can also be the most powerful. Yoga means to bind back, to unite, which so does religion. To bring the body and the soul together, to strengthen ensoulment. And for this reason, the practice of yoga is a holy endeavor, and the teaching of it to our people a high calling. A marvelous thing happens when body and soul are together, something that is the essence of who we've always been, and in our deepest nature, still are, we care. To be black means to care about everything, she says. About orchids and ancestors, about children and old people and hair and ancestry. It means accepting pain and suffering without drugs, without overeating or sex addiction or workaholism. It means trusting as well that the universe will respond to our fidelity, to our true nature, by teaching us ways of being that will help us carry our unique burden. These words of Alice Walker speak of how discipline lives in her life and helps her to become fully who she is, not by removal or addition, but by acceptance and incorporation. Incorporation, embodiment, ensoulment, life, wisdom. It's waiting to breathe into you today, right now. Will you make space? Make space. Breathe in. May it be so.